What we've done here is a demonstration to prove that we can revegetate the range, we can look after it, and companies like Carbon Neutral that are very much environmentally focused on biodiverse plantings gives us the opportunity to do that.
Each site's, got its own set of challenges, I guess. So challenges here are quite different than, say, working on a project at Morawa or Brengery. And the thing that we try and do is adjust what we do to ensure that it achieves all those outcomes and we get a reliable result from the work that goes on. So I think it's pretty important to get this sort of revegetation projects right first go. There's over 30 different species that go into the revegetation project. It's got a range of myrtaceous things, so melaleucas and eucalypts, a strong acacia component, and some of these proteaceous plants as well. We're pretty much treating all the seeds so that we can ensure success by breaking the dormancy mechanisms of different groups of seeds. So they can be very simple things like scarification with hot water and that sort of thing, through to smoke, through to other treatments as well. So all to try and get the best result from the seed that's actually sown in the paddock. This project comes on the back of projects for the last that I've been involved in for the last 15 or so years, and there's a lot of experience that goes into rolling these projects out to give you a reliable result, irrespective of whether you've got fairly dry conditions or whether you've got above average rainfall as well. So we want to try and make them work in all years on a range of different soil types and in a range of locations. So if we were to plant a seedling for all of these seeds that we are going to sow, the price of the project would be cost prohibitive. It's only because we were able to sow this wide range of species on a site cost effectively that enables the whole project to be viable, essentially.
So that this planting here is aimed to emulate a very natural environment, and the overall objective is to try and link these areas in a very early stage, and this is quite a forward-thinking kind of project by the landowner and Carbon Neutral, to link these small areas within the previously grazed property onto existing areas of natural vegetation, so that in a longer period of time there is probably a corridor of good natural vegetation. We monitor these areas to see how things are going in terms of their growth and health, whether vermin are attacking or diseases are into them, and also gives an idea if there's any particular portions that we might need to replant for next year. So we're doing a health and monitoring exercise. So carbon is stored in this, what we call above ground, and also in the below ground situation. And through a series of measurements that we can do of the heights of the tree, the width of the tree, and the diameters of the branches and the stems in here, we can work out relationships between that, and ultimately in a few cases we cut the tree down to find the actual true biomass of that. And so we can work out the mathematical relationships between the dimensions of the tree and the actual weight biomass of the tree. And these are essentially called allometrics, fancy terminology, but essentially an equation, which allows us to then at a later time come and do just sampling across the plantings of trees, just using dimensions, and then convert that into the biomass on the site, which ultimately can be converted into how much carbon is on this site. This was done as a trial planting a few years back, maybe towards 5 years old, but this gives a fairly graphic example of how the direct seeding and the hand planting situation can be done. where you've got a well-defined now lower layer, which is primarily the direct seeded material. You've got diversity of species occupying that lower layer, and the eucalypts are coming up as sort of the planted versions. So we're getting very close to a normal structure of understory and overstory trees. And this really is a natural environmental situation of where you've got the understory and the overstory operating together, and they operate creating that natural environment. And it doesn't take too long to sort of look when you sort of cover the whole area. You see how the extent of vegetation cover has dramatically increased in here, and from a natural environmental point of view, there'll be animals and birds that occupy this space considerably more than the previous grassland.